What's up, guys? Welcome back to Project Time Garage. Today we're going to get back on this Shelby project. Like I said in my earlier videos, it needs a little bit of everything. It's got a lot of wear and tear. Basically, we're going to spend some time today inside the doors of the car. I know in the previous video I had that door panel over there off, working on the handle, replacing that. And I probably should have done these little projects while I had that door panel off, but no big deal. So what are we going to do? We're going to put speakers in the front doors along with speaker baffles. We're going to put speakers in the rear along with baffles. And I'll show you why I'm doing this here in a minute. I'm not crazy. There's a method to my madness. The car needs way more than speakers, and it seems like it's a kind of a weird thing to just jump in and do, but I'll show you the method of my madness here in a little bit. While we have the door panels apart, it's kind of a rabbit hole, right? There's so many other little things that you should do while you're in there. We are going to take care of these window wipes, these window felts. They're broken, they're gross, they're just falling apart. And I have some universal stuff that I think we're going to be able to make work, and it'll end up looking a whole lot better. Show you some close-ups of that here in just a minute. Also, while we have the door panels apart, I'm going to go ahead and put some sound deadening on the outer skin of the door just to kind of help quiet the car down. Figure while I'm there, I may as well do it. Also, while we have the door panels apart, we're going to replace the moisture/vapor barrier. It's, it's a clear plastic on there, but there's another thing that works. So this may end up being like a 1 or 2 or 3 part mini series, but either way, we're going to get it done. Let me show you a little closer what's going on, what we're doing, and what led us to this. So this is what brought us to this project in the first place. See those door speakers? They look awful. Same on the other side of the car. It looks like somebody carved them into the door with an angry rat. And they don't have speaker grills on them, and it's driving me nuts, and it's bringing me down. That's got to get fixed. So what I have done, I have bought a pair of Rockfords. The price was okay, and I'm not looking for a competition system. I just wanted to sound decent. But the big thing is they have covers to go over them, grills to go over them. Figure while we're there, we'll go ahead and we'll put some of these guys in there. These are basically just speaker baffles. They go in the holes, and the speaker sits inside them, but it keeps moisture out of them, and it actually kind of helps the sound quite a bit. I've used these in the past and really did like them. Let's see, what else do we have? This is what we're going to use for the doors, for the window felts, because the ones that we have here now are pretty bad. You can see they are just awful. In fact, we're missing huge sections of them there. It's just totally gone. And the cool part about it is when you try to bend it, it just breaks and falls off in the door. So that's got to get fixed. Let's get our tools together, get our cameras out, and see if we can make some improvements to this thing. Let's go. Okay, let's start with the passenger side door here. In order to get these off, I'm going to start with the door pull, and in order to get those off, it's 3 screws. You've got one here, and one underneath there. Pretty straightforward. There's also a screw down here. Phillips head. Also, you're going to have a screw here in the top of this. You can see right there, that's a Phillips head screw. That's got to come out. This ring here, it just unscrews. You can take something maybe non-marring and stick in there and twist. I'm sure there's a tool for it. This guy here, he just pulls off. I usually take a little pry tool and stick under there and work that off. We're also going to have a Phillips head screw there, and then the 2 screws that have been just slammed in the speaker there. Oh, also one back here. Gently. Oh yeah, there's also a screw right there. I remember them all as I start. The one here. That one goes in the top of this like so. The one here we talked about. Then for this, usually you can just be gentle and just kind of push to one side and it'll just kind of start to unscrew. After that, you can just get it with your fingers. Like that. Now this trim ring will come off. Next we have the door handle, or the window crank. Then the two screws that hold the ill-fitting speaker in. Check it out. These are actually pretty cool old school Alpine speakers. These are definitely going to be capped. I don't know what I'll use them for. They do have a hole there in the cone, but these are really cool speakers. We'll do something with them. I love old school. Now for getting the door card off here, these things are, it's basically like a firm cardboard. So if you're not careful, you'll make a mess of it. I use this trim tool here and just start somewhere. I usually just slip it under the door wherever it'll start and just move along till I find a clip. When I find one, I usually rotate the screwdriver like this as opposed to that. It seems to be a little less mean. So there, we'll rotate it a little bit, pops right loose. Ease over to the next one. There. And around this speaker cutout, that's probably going to be the worst place for most of your cars. It's been wet there. There's been a lot of abuse. Once you have it loose, it's just really a matter of lifting out and then just kind of working it up, and it'll just lift right off like so. Now with all that out of the way, we'll go ahead and handle this vapor barrier and water barrier. This one is stuck really well because in a previous video, I'll link that up here somewhere, up here. In a previous video, I sprayed it with adhesive, so it's in there pretty good. But I don't want to totally destroy this because we're going to use this as a template to make a new one. There we go. If there's any question about the headliner adhesive holding this stuff, now you know. All right, I'm going to save this because we're going to use this as a template when we make our new one. All right, let's put a little bit of sound deadening on these door skins before we put it back together. So this is the product that we're going to use for sound deadening inside the door. It's made for like roof repair stuff. You can get it at Lowe's. It's super duper cheap. It's kind of the same thing as Dynamat. No, that's not true at all. It's nothing like Dynamat. Dynamat is actually good. This is actually cheap. But here's the takeaway. It has a protective backing and it has that sticky, gooey kind of asphalt type stuff. Doesn't have a smell to it at all. But this stuff, once it comes in contact with whatever you're putting it on, it's kind of there. And the other side is this aluminum metal kind of foil backing. And the stuff is awesome. I mean, I've used this stuff over and over and over on old projects and stuff like that. Obviously, if I were going to put a professional sound system in something and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, I'd buy the good stuff. But this is just to kind of take some road noise down, and I guarantee it'll work. It's worked for me over and over again. Start by rolling the window up. And all I'm doing is these skins here, I'm just basically going to put our peel and seal just along it. I'll cut it into smaller sections just to make it a little bit easier on me. Like this. This is not a very precise science. Literally just peel the back off of it. And I'll just start at the very back of the door here. And this stuff sticks extremely well. Once you put it on there, it's pretty much there. There. Much, much, much better. So you can kind of see there what I did. We're not looking to cover the entire thing, but we're just looking to take all of those big, huge metal panels and just deaden them just a little bit, just so they're not quite so rattly, so metallic sounding. All right, next let's deal with these window felts, dew wipes, or whatever you would like to call them. Let's deal with them. I'll go ahead and roll the window back down again. You can see that they have Phillips head screws all along them, and some of those are obscured by the window itself. So in order to get this done, I'm going to have to unbolt the window from the track down here, here, and basically take the window and set it out of the regulator and drop it down enough for me to access these screws behind it. So let me get about that process. Roll the window up just a touch so we can get to it. Should just be 3 screws holding this guy in, 3 nuts. 1. And I'll probably have to roll it up a little bit more to access this one through the hole here, like so. And this one's the same way. You should be able to get to it right through here. At this point, the window should slip out of the regulator and just lay down in the window track like that. I've gotten grease on my finger from my well-greased window track from last time. All right, let's get this window felt off here. No right or wrong way to do it. Basically just find a screw, take a screw out. That's the name of the whole game. There's a bunch of them. I'm going to go ahead and pull this screw out, and I think that's all. No, there's another screw right there we're going to pull out. Yep, of course there's one screw at the very, very end of this old window felt. So we have one more screw to go here. And I'm betting that this has to come off as well. Yep. One more screw right there. That's the last one for the window felt. Excellent. So here comes the problem that we're going to run into. I know this because I just finished doing the other side, and well, I finished doing the other side a few months ago, and basically this thing here, which is the outside of the door, that's what we're actually going to have to attach the new stuff to. We're not going to be able to attach it to the old holes. Reason being is this old piece, you see how far it sits down, how low this sits down, and how far down the screw holes are. Well, the new piece is about half that deep, or about half that tall. So it won't come down far enough to make these screw holes. So what I improvised and did was I actually put them on here, or put the piece on there. That worked out really well. So let's go to the table and do that. All right, so here's our outer trim, our old piece and our new piece. And the old piece, when you put it together, you see that these holes right here line up with that, right? Well, with the new ones, if we set them up there, we see that they don't do that. So rather than trying to barely get a screw to barely hang and catch that, what I've done is I'm coming back and I'm basically putting self-tapper screws into this trim, and then I'll put this thing back together with big washers on the factory screws, just kind of sandwich it and hold it down. This thing was sandwiched between the old one in the first place, so it's not like I'm really doing anything different. So let me get some self-tappers and let's do that. Oh, and here are the screws I'm using. And there's a very specific reason that I chose this particular screw. It's because I had them. Now here's the other thing I ran into. This piece, the piece of trim, it's not perfectly straight. Here at the end, it has a distinct curve to it. Since this stuff here has metal inside it, in this track, it really doesn't want to conform that way. So what I found that I can do is, as soon as it starts getting hard to work with, like right up here at the end, I can put a couple of splits in it here just to kind of alleviate some of that and let it twist a little easier. So I'm going to do that real quick. There. That should help it tremendously. Okay, there we go. Let's put it back together. Got a little bit of a wave in it, but there again, the originals are not built anymore for this car, so you get what you get. Now, I've left a lot of length on this end here, so I'm going to lay this old one up here, and I'm going to just kind of line it up pretty close, and I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to leave myself quite a bit of extra leeway up here because, you know, cutting it too short would not be the right thing to do. Next, I'm going to come back along here, and all of these screws that are sticking out, I'm going to chop them off, the self-tapper portions of them off. Okay, we have our trim piece sitting back on here. So what I'm going to do in order to keep this thing together is I'm going to take one of the screws and I'm going to put a washer on it. And we'll take all of that jazz and we'll try to put it in here without dropping it down the door. And we can press down and tighten. And it's the same concept that we had before with it. It's just a interference type fit. So I'll take off and see how many of these I can drop down in the door. Should be entertaining. Time has come to try to put the window back in the regulator. Gosh, that was just awful. Just going to get all these things in there loosely. I'm sure I've got witness marks that will tell me pretty close to how this thing was in there. Okay, all my witness marks line up pretty well. Windows rolled up. Pretty good. Window felts or dew wipes or window scrapers or whatever your favorite word for that thing right there is. Done. Sound deadening done. Let's go jump on the other side and get it to this point. So meet you over there. Well, there's our finished product for the dew wipe. Dew wipe. And this right here, I don't know if I'll cut it off or if I'll leave it on there, because you see it comes up and barely hits this. I have a feeling I should cut it at an angle just like that so that it stays up against the window. But anyway, I'll just use these snips again and just get kind of right there on it, and that'll be where it needs to live. And I'm just going to take a razor blade and cut back on it. I could have probably done that a little bit better, but that's what we're dealing with. Basically, the takeaway is we now have window felts all the way up. I'm not wild about these ripples right here, but I mean, it's the best you can do with what we're dealing with. This stuff is no longer available, can't be bought, nobody's reproducing it. So basically the only thing you can do is what I've done here today. Alright guys, so this video doesn't careen out of control and turn into like a 12-hour or 14-hour ordeal. We'll stop it here with the sound deadening and the window felt slash dew wipe slash window scraper slash little piece of rubber with some felt on it thing, whatever you call it, done. Next episode, we'll put our vapor slash water barriers back on, and we're going to put speakers in the whole thing, so stay tuned. Also, hey guys, if you like this kind of content on this channel, then I've got a channel that I can recommend to you that you're probably going to love. Automatic Garage. These guys are in the same general vicinity I am. They're putting out some good content. I stumbled across them by accident the other day, and I was struck at how much similarity there was between our channels. So these guys are flat getting it done. I'll put a link down there at the bottom if you want to check out their channel. That's Automatic Garage. Check them out. You won't be disappointed. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Leave comments down here. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about us. And I'll see you next time.